Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another edition of The Professional Fan. I am your host, Mike Antonace, otherwise known as The Professional Fan. Yes, my camera is still bad. Yes, it still looks like I'm coming to you live from the back rooms for all you Gen Zers, but nope, just my living room. And we are approaching week 7 of the NFL. And the Browns currently sit at 1-5. I'm coming to you live October 17th, Anno Domini 2025. The Browns are 1-5. We have 11 more games to go in the regular season. And while I am the draft guy, I certainly didn't want to be doing drafts this early or having the conversation that this show is centered around, which is very simply, what are our coaching options in 2026? We're going to get right into it. Oh, man. This is a conversation I really didn't want to have. For those of you who know me, for those of you who don't, on your way in, please like, subscribe, and share this content. Greatly appreciate it. We do this show once a week, and then we also have a show that we do on Sunday with a big panel. The main host of the show, Joseph Latman, I co-host on his. But yeah, guys, like, subscribe, and share if you could. It is, like I said, approaching week 7. We have 11 more games, and I am someone who has been a Kevin Stefanski defender. I am someone who's been a Kevin Stefanski fan, one would say, for his tenure in Cleveland, which I believe is 5 years now, 6 years. I think this is his 6th year. And, you know, I said this with Mike Tomlin in the past for the Steelers. I think at times you have to move off of who you might think might be a good coach if the groundwork starts to shatter. The way I've always seen how coaches do an NFL team is you're building a foundation. You're building a building. That's what the coach is doing. They build a culture. They build an offense. They build a defense, special teams, all that. They're building a big old building. And no matter how pretty that building might look at first, or how nice the architecture is from the outside, if the floor is starting to fall out, it doesn't matter how well it was constructed in the first place. It's time to get some other builders in there, other construction workers, if you will, other architects. And unfortunately, I think that's where we're at with the Cleveland Browns. I like Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a nice dude. I think he's a good coach. I think he's been, we've seen the most success since the team came back in the 90s with him as our coach. But I think it's time to move on. I don't think there's a Browns fan out there that doesn't feel a little bit similarly. It's unfortunate, man, but I think the Cleveland Browns are right to be looking elsewhere. And that's not even stating like, oh, the Browns aren't winning a bunch of games, so it's time to fire Kevin, blow it all up. Not even saying that. I think if Kevin would have shown something this year, that the Cleveland Browns would have kept him or would keep him. But he hasn't. The O-line is old. Same old procedural penalties, year in, year out. Same bad clock management in the fourth. I mean, that was the whole reason we lost the Vikings game, which was a very winnable game. Same mismanagement in game 1. I mean, think about it. A couple of small mistakes that if Stefanski, maybe he can't handle, some of the other hosts of the show has stated, maybe he can't handle play calling and being the coach. Maybe that's a fact. If he was the CEO, head coach, and cut down on the penalties, fine-tune some things, we might be sitting here 3-3. The Bengals game was super winnable. The Vikings game was super winnable. Hell, you were even in the Detroit game for a little bit. But yeah, guys, I think it's time to move off of Kevin. The O-line is paltry. It's old. It's a shame to say Wyatt Teller and Joe Bitonio, great guys. Joel's probably going to retire after this year, future Hall of Fame guard. He's one of 2 Hall of Famers on the team, in my opinion. And he's going to have nothing to show for it, which is a damn shame. Wish Joel could have gotten, at least a deeper playoff run under his belt in his career. But he was an Iron Man for the Browns for a very long time, ingratiated himself in the community. And, he ain't going anywhere. He's going to retire a Brown. The wide receivers are the worst in the league by the numbers. I mean, they go away from the run game, and while that might be the analytics or it might be voices in his ear, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to make it work. The calls for having Dylan Gabriel throw, I think it was 53 pass attempts against the Steelers and moving off of the run game with your new franchise running back, Quinshon Judkins, who has looked like one of the best running backs out of his class, could be a top 10 running back in the league very shortly. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I think Kevin really did himself a disservice. He would still be considered to hold his position had he just shown something. Like, the Jets have scored over 20 points this season. They are winless. The Panthers are succeeding right now with Dave Canales, and I think their roster is significantly worse than ours, at least defensively. Their offense is pretty good, especially with Ted McMillan now. I mean, the Saints with Spencer Rattler and that horrible O-line has scored over 20 points. Now, Spencer Rattler's been playing well, nothing against him, but damn, can't score over 20 points. You go away from the only thing in this offense that works, which is the run game. It's time to move off of them. And that goes into, well, who do you replace him with? Which is an important question that I think we all need to be asking ourselves because, I'm a fan. We're all fans. At the end of the day, you might just want to move off of somebody. But it really matters, like, who do you replace him with? Because there have been teams in the past that have fired their head coach, and there hasn't been a great pool of head coaches to go to. And then they fire their next one and the one after that. And we don't want to get caught in that cycle again, which as a Browns fan is like, it's kind of why I'm still even hesitant to call for Kevin's job. I think it is warranted now. But even still, I really don't want this to be a revolving door again. So at the end of the day, we're going to get into some names that I think could be pretty good coaching candidates for the Cleveland Browns this year. The first one, well, tune in. What up, Tune? Why did y'all trade Flack to the enemies, Mike? Okay, I'll hit on this. I'll hit on this real quick before I get into the coaching candidates. And Njoku next. He's probably not getting traded to the enemy, but I think he is going to get traded. So the Joe Flacco trade, I get everybody's really emotional about it. I'm from a different lens of it. They like Joe. I think it became pretty evident that there were a bunch of glaring problems with our offense pretty early on. We needed to see the rookies play. So, I mean, Jimmy Haslam told you as much at the beginning of the off season, that we were going to see the rookies play at some point, which meant Joe wasn't going to be the starter the full season. And once you move to the rookies, you can't go back to Joe. And here, this is probably his last year. Maybe he's got one more in him. I don't know. But I think it was in the best interest for both parties. You got a 5th-round pick for a dude who you had no intention of starting the rest of the year. You also gave him a chance to start somewhere because I don't know how many other places that he would have started immediately. I don't know how many other openings there are, maybe like the Niners, but they're doing pretty well with Mac Jones. So I think it was a win-win for both sides. I get trading him in division is very touchy, but I think that was more of a move for Flacco. Like, here, man, like, thanks for everything. go be a starter. And, got to see what the rookies got. Njoku, yeah, I don't see them paying him, especially with how good Fannin has looked. He's arguably your best. Well, he is your best receiving option. He's arguably the second best offensive player, period, on the team right now. So, yeah, I think Njoku's traded. I hope. You probably get a third, maybe, or a second out of him. I say a third just because of depending. You might be able to get a second out of Njoku if you can get a little bit of a bidding war. He's a good pass catcher. I know he could be useful on the Niners. Kittle's hurt. They're fighting for a playoff spot. The Rams would be a good landing spot for him too. A lot of NFC West teams, even like the Seahawks. So 1-10, how hot is Kevin Seep? Well, he's fired by then. So that goes on to what I was about to say too. And if we lose this Sunday, he's fired. I fully believe that. I fully believe he doesn't make it out of the building that day, or he gets kicked out of the building rather, because we're at home. But yeah, he will be looking for gainful employment elsewhere if that's the case. But yeah, let's get right into some of these coaching candidates too. The first one I want to hit on, guys, is my favorite coaching candidate, and I want to make this. I want to say something real quick because my philosophy might be a little bit different than others. I agree that we need a culture setter, but I don't think we should hire a defensive head coach. Here's why. The problem you get when you hire a defensive head coach, even though, they're generally more fiery personalities, they're the culture guys, which maybe the Browns need to overlook what I'm about to say because of, not that they're listening to me anyway, but maybe they have to overlook my opinion on this just because they need a culture setter. But the problem with defensive head coaches, and someone like Brian Flores, who I think is going to be an excellent head coach. He was a good head coach in Miami. He just had some problems with the rookie quarterback, that whole shenanigans. But Brian Flores won, his record was not bad when he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. But the problem with a defensive head coach is if you do well and your team does well, your offense is in constant flux because your OCs will get hired elsewhere. They'll get hired out. Your QB coaches will get hired elsewhere as offensive coordinators, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the only reason. And I think our offense, which is the most glaring need at the moment, needs someone to go in there and fix it. Fix it with choosing the players, fix it with scheme, pretty much everything. I'm going to give you a couple names. My first name here that I think would be my favorite candidate for a head coach this year is Clint Kubiak, son of legendary head coach Gary Kubiak, who, funnily enough, was Kevin Stefanski's mentor originally. Now, I think Clint Kubiak has expounded on his father's scheme and has made Seattle's offense amazing. Seattle's got one of the best offenses in the league. Clint Kubiak spent some time with the Saints. Now is the OC at Seattle. Is done exceptionally well. Run, play action, focus, but very, very unique wide receiver routes. Great at scheming guys open. Great at using the players he has to succeed. And he's great at picking players too. The Seahawks had a pretty good draft. So Clint Kubiak is my number one. My number two, and this is strictly for a culture setter. It has been rumored by national media, specifically Colin Cowherd, that Nick Saban would consider the Browns' job in the right scenario because he's still close with Haslam in some way. That's the case. I know Nick Saban didn't have a very successful NFL tenure when he was a head coach in the NFL. However, if you're just looking for someone to set the culture, I can think of no better person to do that than Nick Saban. And maybe this time around, he, does a little bit better. He's older, wiser. He was old. He coached the Dolphins, but he's even older now. I'd be willing to give it a shot. Someone just to set the culture, get the guys on fire a little bit, because this locker room is pretty volatile right now. If you watch the most recent press conferences from our other Hall of Fame talent, Myles Garrett, and our starting safety, who we drafted, Grant Delpit, doesn't sound good. Grant Delpit, and I said, and I quote, I don't know what winning feels like anymore. This sucks. So, not a really good locker room temperature. It sounds like there's no infighting, but like it sounds apathetic. Like these guys just don't give a shit. And I don't blame them. I'm starting to not give a shit, and like I'm gonna still tune in every Sunday. Why? I don't know, man. I gotta do it. But I think it's one of those things that Saban might work out just as a culture setter. Maybe he can get one of the OCs that he hires. Maybe he keeps Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees is one of Saban's last proteges at Alabama before he retired. So that could be a possibility. My third guy who I would really, really want is Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur is, I believe, the younger brother of Matt LaFleur. Not sure. There's some relation there. Mike LaFleur is the offensive coordinator for the Rams. That is one of the most successful coaching trees, Sean McVay coaching tree. I would like Mike LaFleur. The Rams always have a good offense. They always know how to scheme guys open. They always know how to use their weapons appropriately. I think he would be good at identifying talent. Mike LaFleur is my third option. And also just because of the massive success that the McVay tree has had, I think it's a no-brainer for the Browns to look at that option. And yeah, I do want an offensive guy. I really do. Do I still think Stefanski is a good coach? My answer to that is a little complicated because I think he's a good coach. I do not. But I also think it's time to move on. I think his everything that he built that could have succeeded didn't, and that's not just his fault. It is he shoulders a lot of the blame, but I don't think it's all of his fault. It's the Watson trade. I mean, you hear any NFL team goes 3 years without a first round pick and you don't get what you needed out of who you traded for. That's going to set every NFL team back. That's what a tackle, starting wide receiver, a starting safety, 2 tackles, whatever. You're just missing because you don't have those first round picks, and you gave up a third too. So another top 100 pick that could have been a player of need. So I think if Kevin gets another opportunity, which, there's some rumors that he'd be up for the Titans job. I think he would succeed. I think he mixture of dealt a bad hand, but also he shoulders a lot of the blame in that he relies way too heavily on analytics. Maybe he corrects that at his second stop, or if he's an OC somewhere, maybe he corrects that, getting under somebody else for a little bit. I think Kevin Stefanski still has a place in the NFL as a head coach. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I don't think it should. I certainly don't think it should be as the Cleveland Browns head coach anymore. My fourth option is Brian Flores. So Brian Flores, very popular head coaching candidate this offseason. Done it before, did it with relative success at Miami. His firing was very controversial. Started a whole bunch of league investigations, as it should have. The dude won, I think he went. Let's look that up. What was Brian Flores' record at Miami? Let's see. No, I mean, and this was a bad team. He led the team to consecutive winning seasons for the first time since 2003. His last season, he went 10-6 in 2020 and 9-8. And I'm sorry, he went 9-8 in 21, which was his last season. So 2020 and 21, and the Dolphins had very bad personnel. They had winning records, and he was fired. Huge boatload of controversy behind his firings, as there should have been. Really good defensive coach, really, really good at scheming a defense. Very blitz heavy, but very unique blitz packages. Likes to send linebackers a lot. Good at utilizing a safety. I mean, he would be great for the team as a culture setter, but one of those things that brings up the concern that the offense will be in flux and our defense isn't bad. Like they might give up at a certain point this season and they might not finish top 10, but they have the talent to do it. I don't blame the defense if they give up, especially with like the paltry shit that the offense is putting out. I mean, it's paltry. There's no other word for this, the offensive side of the ball for the Cleveland Browns other than paltry. It is paltry. It is uninspired. It's uncreative. It's heartbreaking that it's so dull, because one thing that Kevin's always been so good at is he's been very creative with plays, sometimes to his own detriment. He gets a little too cute. But that's one of the things I always liked about Kevin. And this year he's just not doing it. And it sucks. The offense sucks. Damn, man. But those are my top four. My fifth one would maybe be Joe Brady. I don't know if I'm there yet with Joe Brady. I think his offense in the Bills is very, very good. I don't know how much Josh Allen, cleans up for Joe Brady, if that makes sense. I just don't know if I'm there with Joe Brady. Also, I think Joe Brady's probably going to take the Penn State job. So I'm not there with Joe Brady. I'm also not there with Minter, who's the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, Harbaugh tree guy. Not there with him either. Again, if you're going to hire a defensive head coach, hire Brian Flores, hire somebody else than Joe, than Minter. I'd give that a couple more years. But if we could land Clint Kubiak, if we could land Mike LaFleur, I'd be over the moon. That also is going to go into like what quarterback we pick, what if we even have to, maybe Shedeur Sanders. Because here's the thing. I know I'm rambling. I know I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit. The best case scenario is Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel for that matter. But I don't hate what I've seen out of Gabriel, but I don't think it's going to work long term. Shedeur has the size, the arm, and the ability to be a franchise quarterback. Gabriel, his biggest knock at even the combine was that his passes completions over 20 yards were non-existent basically at Oregon, and Oklahoma for that matter. So can't drive the ball down the field. Who's my number one? Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. Clint Kubiak. He's an heir apparent too, Tune. He's a son of Gary Kubiak, legendary NFL coach who basically created the modern day like West Coast style offense that everybody talks about on national media, which is just, wide zone gap scheme, running the ball heavy, and then using that to open up the pass game. A lot of dig routes, a lot of scheming tight ends open, heavy personnel options, but using tight ends a lot in the passing scheme. That's like a Kubiak style offense. Kyle Shanahan runs a tree of that offense. Sean McVay runs a tree of that offense. Matt LaFleur at the Packers runs a tree of that offense. Almost every highly successful NFL offense runs a Kubiak-style offense of variation. Clint Kubiak, his son, the offensive coordinator at the Seahawks, has turned that offense into one of the best in the NFL. has one of the best success rates on pass and runs. I think he would have a more talented running back here. Got to fix that O-line. But Quinshon Judkins is better than every running back the Seahawks have. Got to fix that got to fix that O-line, though. So I'd love for one of those guys to get hired. I'd love for Shedeur to end up being the guy. Dylan Gabriel, my guy, though. Yeah. I like Dylan. I don't dislike him. I think he'll be a good backup quarterback. I think maybe he could even be a spot starter in the league. Not a franchise guy. There's nothing wrong with that. He's a third-round pick. If you have a long-term career as a backup quarterback in the NFL and you came in as a third-round pick, that's a win. There are a lot of dudes, a lot of late-round quarterbacks that just, look at Kyle Trask. He was a second-round pick. Nothing. There are a lot of guys like that just kind of float around. Tyler Shuck, probably not going to ever see the field because Spencer Rattler's been playing so well. But yeah. With Shedeur, I think the best case scenario for the Browns would be for him to end up being a guy if somehow, some way he sees the field this season and somehow, some way makes this offense look even a little exciting. I'm willing to build around him. You have 2 first-round picks. Give me a tackle. Give me a receiver. With the first pick, give me the best possible tackle. Give me Spencer Fano. Give me a Francis Muiaga. Whoever you like more. Give me one of those dudes. Just a meathead offensive lineman. Give me a Samoan offensive lineman at left tackle, and I will feel so much better about this team. Just some of the best dudes in the NFL. Yeah, give me a tackle. Give me like Chris Bell or Carnell Tate, whoever's there, with the Jaguars pick, and I'd be happy, man. Also hope the Jaguars lose every other game this season to help our pick. But yeah, so those are my coaching options, guys. I mean, I think Clint Kubiak would be a great option. Mike LaFleur also. Those are my. If I had to give top 2, and then Saban maybe a close third, just as a culture setter. It just really depends on what the Browns want. Also, it really depends on what they do. Because Stefanski's lost the locker room, man. I don't know how much longer you can do this. I don't know how much longer realistically Haslam can let this happen. Because the temperature isn't great. I'm sure Kevin's not an idiot. He knows what's going on. The best he can do is like show out, maybe try, see if he can secure a spot somewhere else next year. I think if Sanders gets his chance, he won't turn back. He will make great use of the opportunity. Certainly hope so, bro. Because if we don't have to spend one of those first-round picks on a quarterback, dude, hell yeah. That would be the best case scenario. Get me a tackle, give me a wide receiver, then get me another tackle in the second. And then like in the fourth, a guard that drives an F-150 and is from like Kansas. I don't know, man. We need so much on this team. The Browns are what I thought would be a soft rebuild is looking like a pretty dense one. You need 2 receivers. You need an entire new offensive line. You're going to need a tight end too. The running back room's fine. It's like the only thing that is fine. Defense is fine. You don't have to make a pick on defense. Maybe a safety. Maybe. But like, I know Joseph disagrees with me on this. But I would not spend a first-round pick on defense for like 2 years, man. I'm not. I'm taking a tackle. I'm taking a receiver. And then next year, most certainly, I'm taking a receiver. Hopefully, we're not so bad that we can draft Jeremiah Smith. But if we can, that'd be cool. Because that might be like first overall pick as a receiver, kind of good. But yeah, guys, I mean, what do you guys think? Are there some coaching candidates out there, any Browns fans watching that have been doing some digging, seeing what kind of head coaches that you like, any names that stick out to you guys that you'd like to see maybe get a chance to coach the Cleveland Browns? Let me know. as I drink the objective best Gatorade flavor, grape. Yeah, bro. They were good in 23. Last time, though. Been 2 years, and it's the league. The NFL's a what have you done for me lately kind of league. But if you're just joining us, I just kind of ran down a list of some coaching candidates I think would be great for the Browns. Let me know if there are some names to coach the Cleveland Browns you'd like to see. Caleb Downs. I know Caleb Downs. I know. I love Caleb Downs. It's very rare when you're like, this safety's a top 5 pick. You know how good you have to be as a safety to be a top 5, to be considered for a top 5 pick. You have to be really fucking good. Pardon my French, but you have to be insane. You got to be just like nightcrawler levels of like teleportation. Like the ball is in the air and all of a sudden you know where you're going. I love Caleb Downs. I still think that the Browns cannot afford to spend another pick on defense. Our defense is fine. We need a left tackle. We need a wide receiver, a true one, a real weapon to help open up the pass game a little bit for all the wide receiver 2s and 3s that we have running around. And then you could pick a safety later. There are some guys in the 3rd round, 2nd round that I'm already looking at, like Amari Farrell, Genesis Smith, I like out of Arizona. CJ Halsey out of LSU is pretty good. There are other safeties you can get that I think could have a successful NFL career. Obviously not Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is insane. But I am picking offense this year. Strictly offense. I don't care if they don't spend a single pick on defense this year. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, if you just want to go tackle, wide receiver, tackle, or guard, freaking wide receiver again, tackle. Yeah, I'd take 2 wide receivers this year. Damn, screw it. That's what the Packers did that one year. They took Watson and Dobbs. Martin Emerson, he was already a slower corner. Maybe he can move to safety. Yeah, maybe, Jeff. Very well could, but yeah, I don't know what you do with Martin Emerson. Was this a contract year for Martin? I think it was. Martin just might be hitting the books. Because he was drafted the year after Greg, wasn't he? Yeah, this was a contract year for Martin. I think. Chat GPT. Give me the answers to chat's questions. '22 draft. So he's got next year. Yeah, maybe he can move to safety because, I mean, Campbell's a bigger body corner. You're not going to put one of those. You're not going to put one of those dudes in the slot. Maybe you do move Martin to safety. Oh, it is a contract year? Yeah, well, maybe you can get him on the cheap for a year. Who knows? I like Martin Emerson a lot. I mean, he was insanely good his first 2 years, had to fall off his 3rd year. Oh, yeah, and then he got hurt. Yeah, so I think Miami is going to beat the Browns 21-12. If that happens, Kevin is most certainly fired. And my parlay, my scratch off parlay is ruined. You guys ever do that? Gamble responsibly. But you guys ever do that where you just make just a disgusting 12-leg parlay, but if it hits, you win like $20,000 just for fun. Like, who knows? Maybe it won't hit, but maybe enough things will hit where you can cash out at a large amount of money. Maybe that happens. Just something dumb. Something dumb I do to just burn $10. Chantel says yes. I always bet on FanDuel. We had a chance to get a number one receiver, George Pickens, DK Metcalf. Yeah. Yeah. Not that. I mean, are you saying by trade or draft? Because you're saying by draft, yes. Pickens is very, very good. I would have loved to draft DK Metcalf. That dude, such a competitor. But yeah, the Browns have had a ton of opportunity to draft a wide receiver that is worth a damn. I mean, think of all the wide receivers we missed out on with the Watson trade. I mean, Jordan Addison. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, I could name that list for like an hour, man. Like that trade set us back so much, and you're seeing the repercussions. You have 2 firsts this year. Hopefully that eases the pain a little bit for the next coach. Now, the real question is, do they get rid of Andrew as well? I don't know. I really don't know. George Pickens is elite. Maybe we could take a swing at Brandon Ayuk. Maybe. That's a bad injury he had, though, bro. I'm worried about that. Wide receivers that might be disgruntled, that might not get paid. Chris Olave is a name to watch that might get traded because the Saints are like. So the Saints drafted Olave at an unfortunate time where it's like, yeah, we know we're rebuilding, but we need to draft players. And they didn't get the quarterback right. And now they have to get offensive line right. And now they need every pick they can get. And they're like, we don't really need number one wide receiver right now. So I could see Olave being an option. Jalen Waddle's probably going to be an option, but he'll probably be expensive. I know there are rumors that Miami's seeking a first-round pick, which is freaking crazy. They're never going to get that with that contract. They'll be lucky to get a third. There's some names out there that you could probably draft that could be like a spot starter at 1. Browns are too worried about drafting QB in 20s instead of lineman numbers. Yeah, Chantel, if you just joined, I actually just said like I really hope that Shador's the dude because that means we can draft tackle and receiver with our first 2 picks because I would love for us to not need to draft a quarterback. Now, if we have to, we have to. And luckily, this quarterback draft class, there's like 4 dudes I like. I'll probably do a video in and of itself on that. Some names that I certainly never thought I'd be saying as my top quarterbacks. I thought my list would be completely different. I had actually did an episode on it months and months ago before the season even started on who I thought the collegiate quarterbacks would be as far as like top 5. One name's still in there, Lenoris Sellers, but pretty much everybody else. Chris Olave plays for your home team. He gets a lot of concussions. That's fine. Fit right in Cleveland. Jalen Waddle's another name I keep saying come up. We did really well with the Dolphins receiver before. Yeah, man. I don't think Jarvis Landry is the kind of locker room leader that I don't think Jalen Waddle is the kind of locker room leader that Jarvis Landry was. But that being said, Waddle's super fast, really good at contested catches. If Miami starts getting a little realistic about what they want for him, I would make a call, see if Andrew Berry could work some of his magic. I like Jalen Waddle. There's some other names out there. Romeo Doubs is another name that he might want out because of Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden. And Romeo Doubs is you could get for relatively cheap. He's more of a 2, but he's still someone that is way better than almost every receiver we have. You missed that. I'm sorry. Oh no, it's all good. I would have traded with the Raiders for Aiden O'Connell. He would have been a decent bridge. You know what? That's not a bad name for a bridge quarterback. He wasn't brought up a lot. I like that. I like that a lot. Aiden O'Connell actually played okay with the Raiders. It wasn't bad at all. I think there could have been a lot of different bridge guys you could have done other than Joe Flacco. They really wanted Kenny Pickett to be the dude. Unfortunately, didn't happen. But yeah, Aiden O'Connell wouldn't have been bad. But at the same time, Jeff, it's hard. Like, imagine how hard it is. Like, generally, a NFL team will draft young quarterback, get bridge quarterback. Bridge quarterback plays 5 to 7 games that window, play rookie quarterback. The Browns were like, okay, draft one rookie quarterback. Now we draft another rookie quarterback. Now we sign a bridge quarterback. Or now we trade for a bridge quarterback. It was the most wild shit. Looking back, you had 2 bridges, Joe Flacco, Kenny. You had 2 rookies in Dillon and Shedeur. This season's been a nightmare, man. Sorry for the tangent. This season's been a goddamn nightmare. Like, it's a waking nightmare as a Browns fan. Like, I will say this for any Shedeur, Colorado fan. You guys are great. You guys have been so supportive of the show. Thank you so much. Shedeur Sanders, great talent, great kid, super involved in the community since he got here. I think he's an excellent human being. The media circus, though, the national media attention that the Browns have got while the Browns are absolute dog shit has been massively nightmarish for everybody involved. It has been a goddamn nightmare. So many bad things have happened all at once. It is insane. Like, I don't know that my local media station, ESPN Cleveland, shout out ESPN Cleveland and Tony Rizzo, they hired real witches, you heard that right, with a W, Wiccans, to cast a spell, a real spell with candles and shit to break the curse off the Cleveland Browns. Because you know what? I don't know what the hell you call it anymore. I don't know what you call it anymore. Other than a curse. The Browns are horrible. 2-time coach of the year ends up being bad. Okay, whatever. You get all this media attention while you're horrible. You trade Joe Flacco. He does well immediately after spending a week with his second team. Your former first overall pick looks like an MVP candidate. This is awful. I'm living in the twilight zone. I don't know what I've done to garner such punishment, to be born in the vicinity of Cleveland, Ohio, which is an excellent city, by the way. Also, all the stadium shit that's happened with all the drama surrounding the city versus Jimmy Haslam. This shit has been awful. I'm sorry I'm ranting, but I need to vent. It has been nightmarish. And you had to deal with the Guardians losing in the playoffs because the Dolans don't want to spend a fucking penny to retain any talent. Luckily, the Cavs start soon, which is the only goddamn bright spot in this city. Oh, my God. Oh. But you know what? I'm still going to tune in this Sunday. Maybe I should just pay somebody to kick me in the fucking nuts, like, every Sunday, just as hard as they can, right on the sidewalk. That's probably be less painful. Oh, sorry, I'm missing some comments. Let's get back into here. Yes, he did. I'm doing this. I could fix it. Holes Aiden O'Connell could be the quarterback for 4 years. Yeah, maybe. I really think they're going to. Here's the thing: if they make a coaching change, Jeff, they're not going to do a bridge quarterback, right? They're going to give him a young quarterback to develop. That's just how the news goes when you hire a new NFL coach. He's going to get a quarterback. It was actually kind of unique when Kevin was hired because they just drafted the quarterback. So, still getting that tattoo. We shall see. Dillon is not a starter. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. He sucks. I don't think he sucks, but I don't think he's a starter. Really don't know what Dillon Gabriel is. The rest of the team is so bad on offense, you can't evaluate a quarterback. That's a fair point, Jeff. I've seen that opinion floated online. I really don't have a good answer for it because it's a fair fucking point. We really don't know what Dylan Gabriel is. I mean, the protection is legitimate. It's the worst pass protecting line in the NFL, 32 out of 32. Even when you max protect, oh my God, I'm going to lose it. Even when you max protect, there was a play where they had max protection. 7 dudes, I'm pretty sure, blocking. And there was a missed assignment. Someone went unblocked and Dylan Gabriel got sacked. It is lunacy. It is lunacy. It is insanity. Everybody in that front office has to be on a fucking prescription of Prozac. I swear to God, they are insane. Oh my God. I'm never like this. I'm the calm one on the panel generally. I heard the Jets may try to trade for Shedeur Sanders. Hope they got a big old trade package because we need all the quarterbacks we can get. Send us a second. Tony been going off. Which one? Oh yeah, Riz. Cavs will save the year, Mike. I certainly fucking hope so too. Because this has been so bad, man. We got 11 more weeks. I still got to watch. I still got to report. I still got to evaluate. Dude, I don't know if you guys watch Jake Burns, but if you don't, shout out Jake Burns. Go watch his stuff. He's awesome. He's one of the best film breakdown guys out there, in my opinion. He's Cleveland Browns mainly. And he's legit. In his latest video, he's like, just like this, watching the tape. Just, like he's getting psychic damage, like from a Pokemon, and watching the Cleveland Browns offense do anything. But he's like, I got to do it. This is what I get paid to do. I got to do it. Jeez. Just causing psychic damage. You're feeding these images. There's light reflecting off of this screen when I watch the Cleveland Browns into my eyes. My brain is interpreting the game and watching the outcome, and it's depressing me. That's what's happening to all of us on a macro level in the Cleveland area. Jesus. And we get no sun here. Speaking of the Jets, might be time for Justin Fields to move positions to receiver. Jets need another one. Save your career. Yeah, Justin Fields is one of those guys that's just an amazing athlete, and for whatever reason, it's never worked out as a quarterback in the NFL. It's a shame. Great talent. Receiver, running back. A bunch of people have said that if he would have changed positions to running back, he might be one of the best running backs in the league right now. I don't know. It's late in his career, though, Jeff. I mean, he was drafted, 4 years ago, 5 years ago now? I think that ship sailed. I think if he's not a quarterback, I think his career path is going to go strictly to like college analytics, something like that. It was in New York podcast. They had the Raider reporter from New York who said there are talks and organizations for a trade for Sanders. There's been nothing, not a peep out of my team. I don't think so. And they're not going to trade him without seeing him play. That's just not going to happen unless it's an insane like trade package. If someone offers you like, I will give you a first round pick for Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, the Browns are going to say no to that. Especially what they got invested. They'll just be like, oh, we'll just get a quarterback this year. That's a fair point. Terrell Pryor did do it late in his career, and he was good at it. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know if Fields is trying to do all that. And Justin Fields, to be honest, hasn't played like horrible this year. It's just the Jets are so god-awful. Evening, Michael. What's up? I know you're livid, but the movie is working out perfectly, if you know what I mean. Season's not over, QB1. I hope so, man. I know you're just joining, but I said earlier, if Shedeur Sanders comes out and the offense even looks a little bit exciting, it's such a win. If he looks great and ends up being our franchise quarterback, man, and we can spend our 2 first-round picks next year on a tackle and a receiver, That would make this just horrible season so much better. And here's the other thing. If we lose against the Dolphins, which I sincerely hope we don't, if we lose against the Dolphins, it's going to be one of those things where Stefanski's gone anyway. I think Tommy Reese goes in. I think they move to Shador immediately, honestly. I don't know if Tommy Reese even really wants Gabriel in there. I don't know, man. And here's the thing. I don't think Tommy Reese would be a bad OC. It's just he's not calling the damn plays. Oh, my God. The Browns did this to me. I'm the most Homer Browns fan on the internet. I feel like I'm one of the most Homer Browns fans on the internet. I don't say bad things about this team. I try not to. As horrible of an organization as they've been historically, I don't say bad things about my team. I love my team. My team is a source of joy. Even when we lose, I try and find something good in it all. That's just how I am. Optimistic kind of guy. Half glass full kind of guy. But it has been so paltry and so disappointing this season that I'm even like this. It's nuts. I feel like I should be smoking a cigarette on this podcast. What's the news on Brock Purdy? Because there's a possibility the 49ers roll with Mac Jones. Yeah. I can't remember. Let me see something. Mac Jones has looked good. I want to check something real quick. Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. Brock Purdy has a 5-year, $265 million contract with the Niners. No. I think Mac Jones might have just Sam Darnold himself. You know what I mean? Like Mac Jones might find a home somewhere else, maybe the Jets. But no. Yeah, Brock Purdy is not moving anywhere. Not with that guaranteed money. No, sir. He is strictly in those colors for the next 5 years. And I think he just signed it. When did he sign it? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, May of this year, Jeff. So, yeah, no, Brock Purdy, this is an untradeable contract. He has $181 million of guaranteed money. Yeah. No. The 49ers couldn't trade him if they wanted to. Kevin would have to go. He don't like Shador, so he won't play Sanders. I think they have conflicting personalities. I don't know that he dislikes Shador. Here, I think Kevin should go too. You know, I really do think Kevin Stefanski we should move on. But also, I can only report what I know, for a fact, or at least very fair speculation, which maybe you're getting that speculation as well. He could dislike him. I don't know. Stefanski is scared to throw down the field with Gabriel. He won't have a choice with Sanders. He'll just do it himself. Yeah. I just hope my O-line keeps him upright. Worst pass blocking O-line. Shador Sanders can step up or roll to his left or right, not go backwards. I'm cool with it. My issue with Shador is even in the first preseason game where he played well, he was missing wide open receivers underneath and holding onto the ball, looking downfield. Yeah, he's not gonna have a chance to do that on this team, Jeff. So that's a fair criticism of Shador's game. It was, even during his draft process, it was the biggest knock on Shador Sanders is that he did hold on to the ball too long. But to be fair, a lot of great quarterbacks have that problem. Joe Burrow, well, to his detriment, unfortunately, because he gets hurt all the time. Joe Burrow holds onto the ball way too much. Has also had a bad O-line most of his career. And he's on the ground. He's most sacked quarterback since he's been in the league. Pat Mahomes, same spiel, gets sacked a lot. Bo Nix would probably be in that same conversation if his O-line wasn't like top 5. I think they're actually number 1 right now. But yeah, that has been the biggest knock on Shedeur. He would have to get the ball out of his hands quick, and he would have to learn he's got to step up in that pocket. That pocket's going to collapse. You cannot roll backwards. They will catch you. That's my biggest worry, is because Shedeur likes to extend plays, which I think is a positive for the most part. But got to do it right. Got to roll left, got to roll right, got to step up. No backwards. Do not roll backwards. There was that play in the preseason game where he did that, and he luckily didn't take the sack. He did manage to throw it out of bounds, but that's like cardinal sin number one of a rookie quarterback is like, hey, you're going to get pressured. Roll right, roll left. Know where the LOS is. Step up. Do not roll backwards, please and thank you. Don't do that, because you're going to get pressured, especially with this O-line. You're going to feel the pressure. You're going to feel it quick. Caleb Williams is still having that issue of holding onto the ball. Yeah, and Caleb's looked pretty good this season. I don't think he's playing bad at all. I actually think he's having a pretty good season overall. And Ben Johnson's rookie year of coaching. And that's something it's a hard habit to break, because, it's one of those things, especially when you don't feel pressure, you feel like you can evade it. A lot of these young quarterbacks be like, oh, if I feel pressure, I'm just going to run away from it. And they take a negative yardage play. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, hell, Josh Allen probably holds on to the ball too long, but he's such a freak athlete, he could just run for yards. Lamar Jackson probably holds on to the ball too long. It's a very common problem, but if you have the talent to negate that flaw, you should be fine. Shedeur is very accurate. That's a good thing. Hopefully the receivers catch the ball. Yeah, that's another problem. Yeah, hopefully they do. Isaiah Bond is like our best wide receiver right now. True wide receiver. Our actual best pass catcher is Harold Fannin Jr., who plays a completely different position. Made a mistake passing on Jackson Dart, in my opinion. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think Jackson Dart's played very well. I also think he's doing some stuff still that might bite him in the ass sooner or later. And also, if we were going to draft a quarterback early and in the first round, I mean, next year you just have a better cadre of players. I like Dante Moore a lot. Fernando Mendoza is going to be there. Lenore Sellers, Ty Simpson's looked really, really good. Maybe you add some other names into there, maybe Mateer, but probably not, in my opinion. But those four have a pretty good draft class this year. Oh, absolutely. Happy birthday to Mama Lapman. Happy birthday, Joy! Hope it's a good one. Exactly, Watson. Hold on. Let me mute myself as my dogs crash out. That's the Cleveland Browns dog right there. Mike there said weather's gonna be bad Sunday with wind gusts at 40 miles per hour. Yes. So if you need an anytime touchdown bet, Quinshon Judkins, Devon Achane, probably both will score a touchdown this game. If Kevin Stefanski tries to throw the ball 30 plus times with a rookie quarterback in 50-mile-an-hour gusts on the Lake Erie while it's pouring rain in a fall monsoon, I'm just going to lose it, man. This has been Mike Crashes Out, the podcast. I love that, by the way. Thank you, Gen Z. I love that saying. Crashing out's it's just the best slang. It works so well. Absolutely. Like, subscribe, and share. Did I watch Gabriel's All 22 tape? I have not yet. I beg to differ. Take a look at that Pittsburgh tape. People wide open off target all day. Yeah, so that is also a fair criticism. That's a very fair criticism of him. Gabriel cannot or will not consider, like, he doesn't even consider it when it's open because it's over 20 yards. I don't know if that's a him thing or a scheme thing. Either way, that's a problem. There are dudes running open. DJ Lagway is your favorite college quarterback right now. Oh, that's a fun name. Yeah, and he's not coming out until 27. That's absolutely correct. I like DJ Lagway a lot too. The Florida quarterback's really, really fun to watch. Huge arm, super freak athlete. Needs to work on his accuracy. He needs to work on a couple of things that every Florida quarterback always has to work on because they are not good at developing a quarterback at the Florida Gators program. But I do like DJ Lagway. Maybe he transfers for his last year. That would be cool. Still bummed that my boy Cade Klubnik just absolutely just crashed out. I just love saying it. Everybody's wishing happy birthday to Mama Latman. Happy birthdays all around. If you like DJ Lagway, Jeff, you must love Lenore Sellers because that dude is a freak of nature. But all right, folks, I've been going for about an hour. DJ Lagway is injured. He's learning how to play out of the pocket more this year, so that's going to help him in the long run. Oh, absolutely. I just think it's always better for a Florida quarterback to transfer to somewhere that knows how to do it. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Don't get mad at me, Gators fans. You guys have a good program, great fan base. Don't get mad. One of the best teams ever you had. So Jimmy Haslam loves him some Arch Manning. He would tank just to get Arch. I swear to God. Sorry, my camera also crashed out. Yeah, no, I hope we, Chantel, I hope we do not take Arch Manning. He has not been good. I have my eyes on Carson Beck in the third, maybe fourth round. Yeah, that's a fair place for Carson. I think that, and that would be a win for him to be a third round pick because, I mean, after that last season in Georgia, he was being evaluated at like fifth, sixth, maybe even undrafted. So that's that would be a win for Carson Beck. I think he should feel good about that if that ends up happening. But all right, folks. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this content. The first 30 minutes of this show is pretty much giving you an analysis on what coaching candidates I like for the Browns, who I think would work out, and why. And the other 30 minutes is just reading comments and angry rants. So I hope you enjoy both parts. I love y'all very much. Good night, Chantel, to you as well. Thank you so much for joining, as always. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. And as always, go Browns. And please, because I certainly wasn't this evening, stay professional.